Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast, Finding Your Flow. I'm so excited to have you here. So, I want to welcome you to our new season of this transformational podcast, and it's called My Intuition Made Me Do It. I'm your host, Jennifer Jane Young, and I'm here to ignite inspiration within you. I'm the author of Say Yes to Your Yes, How to Trust Your Gut and Take the Leap, and the visionary behind the School of Intuitive Leadership. I've dedicated my life to empowering individuals to trust their intuition and lead their lives from that powerful inner wisdom. Through my work as an international speaker and intuitive leadership advisor, I've witnessed the transformative power of following one's intuition firsthand with entrepreneurs and organizations around the world. This season, we're diving deep into the stories of people who dare to listen to their inner voice and take the leap. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of intuition, sharing captivating experiences that will reignite your belief in the incredible guidance within you. Get ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. It's time to embrace the clarity and courage that comes from trusting your intuition. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired into action. Your dreams are waiting. Let's make them a reality together. Well, Jennia, it's so nice to have you. It's so fun because I was just on your podcast and now you're on my podcast, and we've been getting to hang out a lot lately, which is great.
Fantastic, yes.
I know, right? So much fun. So I'm going to dive right in with my first question, which is essentially the title of the podcast. Why don't you tell us what your intuition made you do?
Well, I made a fairly large career change when I was about 30. I used to be a statistician, which is not what my degree was for at all. And I ended up going back to school for accounting, and I had the intention to become a CPA. But as I just kept going through like class after class, I thought just because I'm good at this, does that mean I should be doing it? Because there was that like underlying feeling of dread every time I thought about doing this for the rest of my life or even applying for jobs. And even though I wasn't completely tuned in to what was happening or why I was feeling that way, I also knew that that was obviously a sign that I shouldn't keep pursuing this route. There's something about this. My body is telling me, no, you aren't meant to be doing this. And so I definitely had to have one of those, okay, what am I doing with my life kind of moments? And am I working just to make money, or do I also need to have some sort of level of self-satisfaction in there too? And being excited about the work that I do every day, not doing it just because I have to do it. So I went from all these things that are obviously really heavy on math, and I became a book editor.
I love it. I love it. And I really want to highlight something you just said is that your body was telling you exactly like what you needed to know, which is like, no, do not go down this path. And
Hmm.
I talk a lot about how our intuition speaks to us through our body all the time because it's how it can like, yeah, send us messages, you know? And
Right.
so many people ignore those things that they feel in their body. They kind of brush it off as if like, oh, that's probably nothing, or I'm probably just feeling off today. But it's so important to listen to those sensations
Oh,
that you.
exactly. And I think you're exactly right that it is so easy to just, you keep chalking it up to something else in your life over and over. Oh, I have a headache because of allergies. Or maybe I feel this way because I'm tired. And I did have two young children at the time, so it was easy for me to tell myself, you're just, you need a nap. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep last night. It's because someone was sick. It's because someone was up in the middle of the night and you had to walk them.
Mm.
And granted, those were reasons I was tired, but it's a different kind of tired.
What would you say the difference was in those two sensations, like the tired mom who's like, overworked, underslept, and that other feeling that you were getting in your body? Because I think this is a really important thing that you're bringing up, and why some people don't do anything because the line is kind of fine sometimes, you know?
I think with when you're tired and you're just physically tired, you don't have the energy because of that lack of sleep. It's almost like a more simplified response, and you can easily pinpoint it because it's not, you might have that mental fog, but you don't have any feelings associated with it. Whereas the other kind of tired, there's also again like that heaviness. There's like this mental load that you can feel associated with that fatigue, not just the physical effects that are then somehow influencing how you think or your mental capacity, where you are able to say, like, okay, well, I'm not able to work out, let's say, this math problem or whatever it is you're doing because I know I'm tired. It's like the two are so intertwined that you can't pull it apart really as the reason.
I love that. That's very accurate and has been my experience as well. I love what you said about it's more of like a heavy mental load. Definitely. What would you say is the most important lesson you learned in trusting and following your gut in that big change?
Well, I think again, the first one was really just what's going to make you happy at the end of the day, or maybe not even happy all the time, because that wouldn't be sustainable either. But what's going to make you content? What do you really want out of life? And then part of that means having to go back and look at what you're prioritizing and what you're valuing over your health, whether that's physical health or mental health. And so in this case, I was looking at, well, what can I do to support my family if it ever came to the point where I was the sole person bringing an income into this household? And so that was one reason, honestly, why I had looked at accounting, because I knew I was good at math. I knew there were a lot of positions open for accountants and accounting related type jobs. But again, I mean, you can't go to a job every single day and feel sick to your stomach because you're going there and then expect that to not have some sort of negative payoff.
Totally. That accumulates over time and it ends up turning into like health issues and burnout and depression. Like I really believe that depression comes from us not listening to our soul's
Oh,
desire
yeah.
and just getting like it's like our soul is just like, well, I give up. Like this is not the path I want to be living, you know?
Right. And we talk about midlife crises all the time too. And so at the time, I was, well, when I started going to school, I wasn't quite 30.
Right.
And I thought, this feels like a midlife crisis, but I'm 28.
Right.
So is it possible to be having a midlife crisis?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's remarkable to point out that I'm now 41 and I'm not experiencing those same feelings. So I think that's really what it is. Or it had the same factors feeding into it that would feed into the reason why someone would have a midlife crisis. It's just that feeling of I've settled for something or I've chosen a path that really wasn't for me and is not leading to self-fulfillment. And now I need to figure out a way to get off of this and diverge and go a different route.
Mm. And what do you think your life would look like, or who would you be today if you had not followed your intuition? If you had just like gone with the CPA thing and pushed your intuition under the carpet?
I'd probably be wearing Ann Taylor Loft and White House Black Market every single day. I'd probably get my hair done a little more regularly. No, but I mean, I do think I might be more financially comfortable,
Right.
but I don't think that I would be happy with what I was doing. So, with what I'm doing now, I've made so many friends even through work, and there are people I talk to on a daily basis. And even just from the people that I knew in my courses, we might have talked about class or we might have talked about something that was related to it, but I wouldn't say that they were friendships on the same level as what I have now. And I think that also should have been a hint to me that maybe what I valued in life wasn't going to be necessarily the same things that these people valued in life. So while a shallow friendship was possible, it might not have had the capacity to go deeper than that. And that's really what I enjoy having, especially with some of the people that I do work with so often. Or like even when we have events coming up, like the thrill and the excitement I have, even for stuff that's planned a year and a half out versus what suit jacket am I going to wear? I mean, it would have been like a different anticipation.
Mm.
It would have been much more just focused on the work only. And I think there would have been a higher level of stress that went along with it too, just because I also believe that when you don't really enjoy something, it's harder to work up that enthusiasm for anything associated with it. So, like the events or the conferences or the networking, that would have also been a level of work. It wouldn't have been socializing, it would have been networking.
It sounds like, and I just got like so many chills as you were talking about that. It sounds like in your other life, um, you would have sort of had to find joy through external things
Mm-hmm.
more. Whereas this life, it's like the joy is just bubbling up from the inside because everything is so aligned.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And it's, again, I don't open a manuscript and think, oh, great, what now? But I think if I'd been opening balance sheets and things that, income statements, that maybe that would have been my reaction. Like, okay, here's another massive amount of work.
Yeah.
And this is what I have to do because this is how I pay the bills, not this is what I get to do to pay the bills.
Hmm. Oh, that's such a good comparison. This is what I have to do to pay the bills versus this is what I get to do. Yeah, and I think, obviously everybody has some sort of external limitations in
Mm-hmm.
their lives. It's just part of life. And I really believe that those external, like any kind of limitations, we have a lot of internal limitations also in
Oh,
our,
yeah,
probably bigger ones up in here than actually out in the real world.
I believe it.
Yeah, but I really do believe that there is always a way around those limitations or through them even, um, that allows us to, because I don't think that if there's something, I always tell people what you're yearning for is a preview of what's like waiting for you in the future. It's like calling you. So I don't believe that when there's something that is truly calling us intuitively, that life is going to make our, or the universe is going to make our life a living hell to get there. I think it's going to be, uncomfortable
Oh,
stepping out of the
yes.
comfort zone, but it's not impossible at all.
Oh, speaking about those mental blocks that we have, that was one of mine. I thought if I don't finish this, or if I don't follow through and have the CPA certification after I've done all this post-baccalaureate work, will that make me a quitter? And I'm very type A, so quitting anything just makes me extremely uncomfortable, and it feels like I've broken one of my core values. And so I really had to work through that. And so I called people I was close to and I talked it out. And the answer from every single one is you're doing this to yourself. You don't have to do this. No one expects you to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, that's different. But what I'm hearing from you is that you don't really want to.
Yeah, I know, right? The stuff that goes on in our minds is insane, and the hardship we put ourselves through mentally is really crazy. Instead of just trusting ourselves and also just being gentle with ourselves, about
Right.
our path.
I mean, I will say it did help to have people that I knew were a solid support network and that I could be open with without that judgment or feeling like they had their own motivation for my life where they wanted to see me go a certain way and they would have pushed me to do that knowing it wasn't right for me. So just being able to have those people and talk it through as it was happening. And I'm sure some of them were so tired from hearing this over and over. Like, I thought you made a decision. I thought you already knew what you were going to do. Why are we still talking about this? But yeah, it was just, I really had to process and get that all out and come to my own understanding, even though other people close to me in my life had already figured that out for me.
Right, right. If you are feeling like your inspiration, your intuition, and your excitement is being ignited right now for your next yes, I invite you to join us in the Say Yes to Your Next Yes community. It is a free space and it is a supportive community for ambitious, purpose driven souls who are ready to trust their intuition, take courageous action, and say yes to the life they know they're meant to live. This space is led by me, Jennifer Jane Young. I'm an intuitive leadership coach and the author of Say Yes to Your Yes: How to Trust Your Gut and Take the Leap. In this group, you're going to gain direct access to my guidance and coaching support, empowering you to break free from fear, align deeply with your purpose, and confidently take bold steps towards your next big yes in life or in business. Let's turn those intentions into empowered action so you can experience the life you have been dreaming of. Head over to jenniferjaneyoung.com/community to join us today. Now let's get back to the rest of this amazing story. So interesting. What would you say is like a piece of wisdom that you would want to share with anyone who's listening to this today, that would help them along their journey of trusting and following their intuition, or like the importance of it, or I don't know, anything that comes to mind that you feel like if I was going to share something with someone about all of this is what it would be.
And definitely be to pay attention to those psychosomatic symptoms because that's probably going to be your first clue that something is not right for you way before you reach that cognitive understanding where you are able to voice it and put it into words.
Mm,
Because by then you've already suffered and you've already gone through hardship and made life difficult because you're continuing to feel those feelings and feel that way with your body through headaches, whatever it is. And then you're going to have those added emotional stresses added on later. So before you even reach that point, as soon as the headaches or whatever it is start cropping up, pay attention to that and start analyzing what the cause could be.
yeah. I really love what you said about like really tuning into what you're feeling in your body first, because like you can't really put words to what you're feeling yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a common experience with people who are on the intuitive journey, because like we get all our body sends us all these signals, we feel all this stuff, and we don't always immediately like connect the dots, right? It can take some
Right.
time to make those connections, but if you observe like what's going on in your body when that feeling comes up, what's happening in the moment, what are you faced with, like you're about to do your class on to be a CPA, or you're about to do I don't know something else, and just paying attention to what, or maybe you were just like thinking about your future job and then all of a sudden you felt nauseous or something like that. And I think it's a very somatic experience at first, because you kind of match a feeling to a vision or match a feeling to an activity or something around you.
Exactly. And then I think it's one of those things too, where even if you might not have the right wording to describe what you're going through, or you
Yeah.
might not have a name to label it with, which in some cases can mean you don't ever label it at all. And so
Mhm.
then you just continue to suffer through it. Whereas if you'd listened to your body and you'd picked up on that, it wouldn't matter quite so much that you didn't have that label or you didn't have those words because it's enough to know that something is wrong. You don't even need to go past that. But I think sometimes we feel like, well, if I can't name it, then it's not really true. Or
Mm.
it maybe it's not that important. It doesn't matter because when I've heard of this, when I be aware that this is something that could come up if X, Y, or Z is happening. And no, not necessarily. Especially because I feel like we don't, like what you talk about on your show, I don't think we talk about that often enough in real life.
Mm.
I think so much of it is just this is my life path and this is what people expect from me. And then just because you expect it from yourself so much, then other people begin to expect it from you as well, or that's how they begin to define you. Here is a person who does this for a living. Here is a person who is this way. And so then you're not just pushing against your own representation of who you are when you decide to do something different, but you have to do it with these other people as well who have now decided that this is how you are defined.
Mm. There's something you said in like again just coming back to like the labeling things and wording things, and when we can't label it or put a name to it, we feel like it's not true or it's not valid, or like we have to have some sort of like Wikipedia explanation for why we're feeling something. And I
Right,
think it's really important to like I'm going to use an example that's like a very typical example: relationships, right? You meet someone
right,
and your body kind of, after you've kind of spent time with a person, your body kind of starts to either green flag you or red flag you, right?
right.
When the red flag comes up, even though there's nothing actually going wrong in the moment, or you haven't necessarily
Mhm.
witnessed anything, you're getting that red flag feeling in your body.
Yeah,
And a lot of people ignore that because they can't explain the why of it yet. They're like, yeah, but nothing happened. Yeah, but
yes.
your body is telling you that something is going to happen,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah,
Um,
and then I think too, especially as a woman, and this is something that I've read and have seen backed up with studies, is that again, because it's different with how we were raised, most of us. And so there is that feeling of, oh, I have to be nice. And I can't risk offending this person. Maybe I'm reading into it, maybe I'm overanalyzing it. And so we make excuses for why we feel that way
Yeah.
instead of confronting it and believing that there's some validity to it.
Yeah, totally. Totally. It all comes back to a journey of trust in ourselves and trust in our inner voice that is constantly guiding us, really, all of the time. And I think, for me, that my experience has been like the more I slow down and take pauses and actually breathe and reset my nervous system to be in my relaxation response, the better I can hear my intuition. Like there's not so much static,
Yeah.
and a lot of people say like, oh, I'm not intuitive. Yeah, everybody's intuitive. It's just that you can't hear it maybe because there's too much noise going on inside. And the slowing down comes with discomfort, unfortunately, because it means that you're going to feel stuff when you slow down.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes too, we avoid it because we know that. And
Yeah.
we think, I'm not ready to deal with that yet. And so we just keep plowing on when we shouldn't be.
Yeah, totally, totally. There's a video I watched once by Oprah, and she says, your intuition speaks to you and it starts with a whisper. And then if you don't listen, it gets a little bit louder, and then it gets until it's like shouting at you, and that shouting at you becomes like physical sensations that are happening, or burnouts or breakdowns or whatever that is. So I'm
Yeah.
really happy that you did not push yourself that far and that you just really listened and honored yourself. And I'm like, I can't even imagine you as a CPA. I'm like, you're a book person.
Well, thank you. I mean, that just shows me that I really did make the right choice all those years ago.
You totally did. So why don't you tell us a little bit about like your work, what you do? I know you said you're a book editor, but I would love to share with people a little bit more about
Okay.
you, your professional self, and who, like what kind of books do you edit and anything else that you're maybe involved in right now.
Okay. Yep. So I edit fiction and creative nonfiction. The most popular genre in creative nonfiction that people tend to know is the memoir,
Hmm.
since it's not strictly fiction, since obviously our memories are malleable and change over time, and then we might insert something like a narrative arc that wasn't strictly present in our real life. And I usually do developmental and line edits. So developmental edits would be like the overall structure, all those big picture pieces. Your characters, are they consistent? The character arc, is there a theme and is that theme well applied throughout? Plot is, are there inconsistencies? Are there plot holes? All that kind of stuff, which is my favorite. And then I also do line editing, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a line by line dissection of the manuscript, but I'll also do things like, are idioms used properly? Is the dialogue varied enough from character to character? Is a word used correctly? Does this line sound kind of awkward or clunky? Or even if, for instance, I know that the author wants to have an audiobook, I'll usually read a lot of it out loud and see how it sounds out loud. Because quite often, something that looks really good on the page isn't going to have that same quality when it is spoken. And so that's something that I like to be aware of also when I'm editing.
That's really interesting. I never thought about that. Really interesting.
Mhm.
And tell us, so I have a lot of authors and people who want to and are writing books in my life and in my orbit. Um, and I also have a lot of people who just like total book nerds, like readers, and me being one of them. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast also, which
Oh, well, thank you.
that I was on, because people can discover a lot of authors and books on there too.
Yes. So I host the writing and editing podcast, which I just thoroughly enjoy. It's kind of like my socialization most days,
Yeah.
since I do work from home remotely. And even just being able to meet these people and learn from them has been fantastic. And then some of these people I've met later in other places, or maybe I've run into them in an event, and that's been wonderful too. So, yes, the writing and editing podcast doesn't look at just writing advice or just advice about being an author. I want to take that whole person approach and talk about everything that goes into it as well. So we'll have topics, for instance, about how to know that you need self-care as a writer. How do you balance these things? How does your workspace contribute to your effectiveness as a writer? All these different things, not just here's how to plot a book, here's how to write a romance. Because I think sometimes when we do that, we ignore that we're also a person who
Yes.
needs to be taken care of, and that we need to be paying attention to that as well, and not just how we're going to outline this action series.
Mm. So good. And so fun to learn about the authors on your podcast, like learn about their process and everything. We don't realize how, well, I realize now, but we don't realize how much goes into writing and publishing a book. So it's really
Yeah.
great.
And I love seeing the different ways that people do it too, because I think it just helps highlight that one person's way doesn't mean it is the way. And
Yeah.
so sometimes too, especially like if we're reading a book on writing craft or an online article and it tells you the 5 ways to do blank, but then those 5 ways don't work for you and it can lead to those feelings of failure or maybe I'm not good enough, I didn't do this right, I didn't understand it. But it just means that that process doesn't work for you. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with what you're doing or that you aren't capable of it. It just means we need to find something else. And so that's one reason why I love to have, for instance, people who might be a plotter, might be a pantser. Maybe they like to look at character first. Maybe they like to look at their plot first or their setting first and just see how it works with all these different ways to show that you too have all these things accessible to you.
Yeah. I love that. Well, this was so good. I love your story, and I love that I didn't actually know your story before we got on. So it was a little part of you that I got to discover as we did the interview. It's really inspiring. I think your story is just it's so it's something that so many people experience, and I hope it really inspires people to trust those feelings that they're having in their body and not be scared to take the leap. We are so much stronger and more resourceful than we think. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, wait. Ah. Okay, let's just take a moment to take in that story. My wish is that it inspires you into the aligned action that you are really ready for. You also don't have to do this alone. Just like my guests have shared about all the incredible people that have supported them along their journey, we are here for you too. If you're ready to uplevel your personal leadership, take big leaps in your life, or take that next leap on your entrepreneurial journey, join us at the School of Intuitive Leadership so that you can experience more ease, flow, joy, abundance, and live in your full brilliance and wake up each day to the life that you really want. Find out more at jenniferjaneyoung.com or at theschoolofintuitiveleadership.com. And participate in this movement with us by sharing an episode that deeply inspired you and leaving us a review. I can't wait to see you on the next episode.